Father Lou Scurti, and I'm here with Friends of the Word, introducing you once again to a very dear friend, Karen Dempsey, Dr. Karen Dempsey of William Patterson University Music Department. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you so much for inviting me back. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
This is wonderful. I'm so excited because today you're going to perform for us.
Yes,
right?
yes,
this is
absolutely.
great. This is great.
Absolutely.
Now, Karen and I have had experiences at William Patterson, and we talked about that before in the other shows. But today I want to focus on a very interesting aspect of Karen's music experiences, the Uptown Flutes. And I'm going to be quiet, believe it or not, and Karen's going to tell us all about Uptown Flutes.
Well, very interesting the way Uptown Flutes began for me, because I had just been awarded tenure at the university, and it's a rather rigorous process,
sure.
I should say. And I remember very clearly saying, all right, I've been focusing on this for 7 years, and making sure that my portfolio is chock full of all of the types of documentation I need. And that's done. Now what? And I literally sat down and made a list of the professional activities that I wanted to do from that point on. And of course, teaching, huge. Performing, huge. Writing about music was something that I wanted to start doing more of. I had published some articles, but I wanted to do more of that. But at the top of my list was I wanted regular contact with my flute colleagues. And the next day, Jenny Schultz Johnson, who founded the group actually in the year 2000, called and said, the group formed with a couple of my students and the rest professionals, and we really would like to make this a professional group. My students are graduating. They're going to move on with their lives. And I'm wondering if you'd like to come join us for a rehearsal, see if the chemistry is right on both ends, and maybe come to a second rehearsal, and we'll see how it all works out. Well, by the end of the first rehearsal, we all knew.
That's
I knew immediately.
What a nice story.
That I wanted to be there. They said, we know that you're right for this. It's a good match, and the other spot was filled. And essentially, it's been the same personnel for 15 years. For an octet, for 8 people to stay together in the professional music world is amazing, particularly in the greater New York City metropolitan area, because there's so much come and go. People move around such a great deal, and so it's really been very, very special. So that call came. I had a couple of rehearsals, and the second rehearsal, I said, by the way, we're doing our New York City debut at Carnegie Hall in a couple of months. I said, what?
And you're on. Wow.
And it was fantastic. It was absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Let me tell our audience, the introduction to our shows, right from the beginning, have been sections and selections from Uptown Flutes. And the credits always better. And I got permission from Karen to use that as an intro and credit-oriented, the out section of the shows. So every time you hear the word from Friends of the Word, you hear music from Uptown Flutes, from one of their albums.
And thank you so much.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to ask Bill to while Karen's playing, to hand me the jacket of the album. It's in the green box. Because the most recent album is where the selections from our show comes from.
Yes, and I'll just say a quick word about this most recent album. We just released it in the fall of 2014. It's our 4th album, and it's very special because in our group of 8 people, we have 2 composers.
Oh, really?
John McMurtry and Elise Carter, and so 2 of the selections on the CD are composed by our own members.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
And this is the album. Now, we're not selling it and we're not advertising it. We're sharing, so do what you want with it. It's Streaming Dreams, Uptown Flutes. And you'll know the music is wonderful because you hear it at the beginning and end of our show.
And thanks so much. I appreciate
I mean, I'm honored to have something original associated with us on the show. And of course, it's not only original, it's by dear friends. That's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I want to know where Uptown Flutes has performed, but I need you to perform first.
Okay. I'd love to.
So, on behalf of you, our audience, I'll sit back and be quiet for a few minutes. And
Thank you.
And if you, whatever you want to say about the selection, please do.
Well, I thought I'd do something a little bit different than you might expect, and that is I'd like to just demonstrate some different sounds on the flute.
Oh.
Most people generally, when they think of the flute, they think of a very delicate sound. It's traditionally been the bird calls in many pieces, and it does have a beautiful, floaty, delicate quality about it, a very silvery song-like quality. So, for example, that would be a good example of a very floaty, silvery quality. But it can also have a very bold quality. Here's an excerpt from another piece. That's a much bolder sound. It's a piece actually that's called a Hungarian fantasy, written in the 19th century, very reminiscent of the music of Hungarian gypsies. But there are a variety of sounds and tone colors that are possible on the flute, and more composers are experimenting with different percussive sounds, even singing and playing at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And so I'd like to play a piece that explores a variety of different sounds. This is called The Great Train Race, and you'll see why immediately. And it's written by a very inventive British composer who's in his mid-30s, I think, named Ian Clark, and he's made quite a name for himself. So, The Great Train Race.
Oh my goodness! Bravo!
Thank you.
Wow!
Thank you. Isn't that quite a piece?
Oh, the piece is magnificent. Your presentation. How do you get all that energy?
Practice.
Wow! How long have you been using the flute?
Playing the flute?
Playing the flute.
Gosh, professionally about 35 years. I started playing when I was 8.
Really?
8 years old, yes. Very lucky. I was born and raised in Rochester, New York, the home of the Eastman School of Music, which is one of the premier music schools, not only in the country, but in the world.
Right.
So I actually studied with flute teachers at the Eastman School of Music. I got on the bus
Really?
After school, once a week, I'd go downtown to the Eastman School of Music.
That's the
And
energy that it takes.
it does. It's very physical. I tell my students,
Yes.
you are like an Olympic athlete in training
Yes,
when you're a
yes.
professional musician. And so, get enough sleep,
Yeah,
just
right.
don't skip meals,
Right.
don't eat junk food, all of those things, exercise regularly. It really takes a
Right.
lot of lung power.
It does.
My father was a tuba player. And so every
It's in the
once in a while,
family.
I'd say, Dad, can I try the tuba? Sure, okay, try the tuba. And he was always surprised when I could play it.
Because you had enough lung
Yes,
power.
there's all that tubing,
Yeah.
if you stretched it out, it's a very long tube. And I said, it takes just as much air to play the flute as it does to play the tuba.
Okay, I don't know music, but the various movements from the staccato and beginning and wow, I mean, just watching you got me tired. Wow,
Yeah, but it's so much fun.
oh,
It's
that's
just,
great.
it's so much fun.
That's
Yeah, it really
now
is.
I know you performed at Carnegie. Where else have you traveled?
Oh,
Because I know
gosh.
you've been all over the world.
Yes, well, personally, I've had the great good fortune of playing in a variety of different groups and a variety of different settings with so many fine musicians. So I play in solo recitals with a pianist, sometimes a harpist, sometimes a guitarist. I play in chamber recitals with small groups. Uptown Flutes, of course, is a regular thing for me. The others kind of come and go
Right.
here and there. Uptown Flutes is constant. We do roughly 7 or 8 concerts per season, which would be September to May.
Wow.
And we play all over. We've played in a variety of different states, as well as concert series here in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and so on.
And you travel abroad too.
I do. I play with a group called the International Flute Orchestra.
Wow.
And we gather once a year in late May and early June. Most of us are professional performers and university professors.
Oh, I see.
So late May, early June is the optimal time
Perfect,
for all of us.
absolutely, yes.
We've gotten our grades in and final exams corrected and so on and so forth. And we meet for very intense rehearsals for 2 to 3 days. And then we do usually a 10 or 12-day concert tour. So since I joined, let's see, in 2000, I'm trying to remember exactly how long it's been. I think 6 years ago. We've been to Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Italy, Spain, Turkey, which was
wow,
what a beautiful country,
wow.
as you
Yes.
well know. And by the way, you had been to Turkey.
I try to keep up with Karen's
No,
travel.
no, no.
I try to go too.
No, it's the reverse, very definitely. You had just been to Istanbul and various places in Turkey just before I went the following years.
Right.
Oh, don't miss Hagia Sophia and so on and so forth. And I took your advice. Oh, what a beautiful country, beautiful people, so welcoming, and the music.
Absolutely.
Something I brought back with me was that in Turkey, music belongs to everyone, as opposed to sometimes here people say, oh, well, I'm not a musician. That belongs to the professionals. Leave it to the professionals. Nothing could be further from the truth. Music belongs to everyone.
And the future shows I want you to talk about the travels, because I think that experience is wonderful. Do you have a website or for Uptown Flutes or that the audience can go to?
UptownFlutes.com.
That's pretty easy.
You can purchase our CDs on the website through PayPal or credit card. It lists our current concerts. It also lists some past concerts, so you can see where we played, bios of the players, and so on, all kinds of information. So,
thank you so much, Karen. I really appreciate being here.
Thank you.
And I'd like to welcome you back into Uptown Flutes site, and thank you for joining us, and come back anytime. Give us a question and answer. Father Lou Scurti at hotmail.com. God bless you and enjoy your day.